Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we are going to be doing a guide on priority stats for the medallions that have just come into the game. They are all for the assassins, so a usable faction, and people want to know what to build. Now I'm going to state right now that I am just showing you the stat priorities of how I am personally going to build them. These are not the 100% guaranteed best ways to build them. I'm going to explain why I'm focusing on these stats along the way, so feel free to do the same as me or build them how you see fit. There are several ways you can build these heroes. It's as simple as that. So let's get into it, starting with Blade. Now, with all of the assassins, I highly recommend damage reduction. I think damage reduction is probably one of the best substats on every medallion in the game. There are only a few heroes that I would not recommend damage reduction on. Captain John being one of them. I think hit points is the absolute best. If you can get 4 substats on him that are hit points, take all of them. Hit points because with his passive, he is able to heal depending on the damage he takes from the enemy. When he receives damage, he heals his team. Now, if you put damage reduction on him, you are going to significantly lower the damage he is taking, which, sounds good, but you are going to lower the healing he offers to his team. So, just go full hit points. Hit points, hit points, hit points. Allow him to heal. He already has a lot of damage reduction built into him. Captain John is actually very tanky. Very tanky. So, I recommend hit points, damage reduction. He's already got it from Yuki. He's already got it from Blade. He is a tank within himself, so do not worry about that. The other stats, you can, if they come up, there is no harm in getting them. Attack damage would definitely be second because his third ability does heal depending on the damage he deals. So there is benefit to having attack damage and then physical fortitude multiplier, magic fortitude multiplier. They're just there. If they come up, you can definitely take them, but the first two are 100% priority. And I would still even rank hit points far above attack damage. If you can get 4 bouts of hit points on him, take him. Take them all. Make him as deep. Give him the biggest hit point pool in the game if you can. That is the goal. Next up, we have Blade. Now, Blade, hit points, damage reduction, physical fortitude multiplier, magic fortitude multiplier. Again, Blade is never ever going to be the priority for the enemy. If you are using him and you notice him being focused down over your other assassins, the main reason for that ever happening is because he's probably not as built up as your other assassins. And if the AI is able to whittle him down more than the other characters, they will turn to him and focus him down. So just keep it in mind. On an even playing field, Blade is never really a focus. And he is primarily not a damage dealer. He has some really nice stuff built into him, but his strength comes from the debuffs he can apply to the enemy. He can apply the execute debuff when the enemy falls below a certain HP. Anyone on the team will execute them. He can apply block debuff removal from the enemy as well. He can apply hit list to 3 targets. He can, it's not a debuff, he can lower his initiative. There is a lot built into him. So I don't believe, and personally I am not going to build him as a damage dealer. However, in saying that, like I said before, he is not prioritized by the enemy. So there is no harm. If you really feel like you're going to gain more from building him as a damage dealer, by all means go ahead. I'm going to utilize his utility and build him tanky. And if that doesn't work, then I will change. But at the moment, he's just going to be a pure utility character for me. Next, we have Demetria. Demetria, you go damage reduction, health steal. You could probably use both of them if you want. All her attacks are damage base. So there is no harm in that at all. She's going to be dealing a lot of damage all the time, and she could benefit from both of those. So maybe just go damage reduction, then health steal, and then I would focus crit damage chance multiplier last, but definitely attack damage. Honestly, the best part about Demetria is her basic. I love her basic just because if she attacks someone on the hit list, her basic just strips buffs away from them. And for some reason, I really like that. But to be honest, she isn't on my priority team for assassins. I rarely ever use her. I have, I believe, a better team use. But if you are still using Demetria, no harm in that at all. But yeah, damage reduction, like I said at the top. And then throw in the damage. And yeah, just enjoy it. Throw the health steal in as well if you can get it. Next, we have Ashe. Again, damage reduction, health steal. attack damage, crit damage, critical damage, chance multiplier. Ashe is pure damage, just like Demetria. He does a better job in it, though. He is just pure damage. Whereas Demetria has a little bit of utility in her. This character is a cannon. I would say glass cannon, but that's not true because he is not going to break when he's attacked. He is an absolute monster. Now, let's focus on the damage reduction, health steal. Now, I want to say that you want both of them, maybe one. Damage reduction on this character is very interesting because he's getting damage reduction from your blade. He's getting damage reduction from your Yuki. He is also getting damage reduction from his passive. When Blade loses 33%, he hits a 33% threshold on his max HP. So that's at 66% and 33%. When he goes past those borders, he goes berserk. He gains, I believe, 50% damage increase, and he gains 70% damage reduction as well. So when you consider that he's getting 70% damage reduction from his passive, he's getting 77. When he's getting 70% damage reduction from his passive, he's getting 70% damage reduction from Yuki, and I do not remember off the top of my head the Blade damage reduction. He is already super tanky. So you could go further and make him more tanky by adding damage reduction to his medallion, or you could add health steal to him, which again is not horrible because if he is thrown below that HP percentage, health steal is going to boost him back up, and it's going to allow you another chance of him falling below that health percentage. So in turn, you're going to get damage reduction, and then of course just damage. You could make the argument that critical damage chance multiplier is useless on him since his third is guaranteed crit against the targets on hit list. However, his damage doesn't come from his third. His big damage dealing ability is his second, and of course his second and his third are cooldown based. So yeah, using his basic attack the most, I believe there is value in crit damage chance multiplier. But yeah, focus attack damage, critical damage, and if the chance multiplier comes around, by all means jump into that as well. Next we have Willow. Same deal, damage reduction, attack damage, critical damage chance multiplier. I didn't throw lifesteal on her because she does have the ability to hide, which means the enemy isn't really going to ever be focusing her. But you can throw it in there if you want. By all means, healing off attacks is really powerful for the assassins just because they have such huge damage reduction built into them. There is no harm. I'm only not focusing it on Willow because she can hide. I feel like with her hiding and with Captain John's healing, I feel like she's going to be fine. I'd rather just make her tanky and then put a heap of damage into her as well and go from there. And I don't think I'll have an issue with her as well. All this damage reduction in the team isn't going to make it invincible by all means. The assassins, and what I really like about the assassins is they have a significant weakness. It is pretty much the Death Star. They are a weapon, an absolute weapon, but they have such a easy, I guess it's not easy. If Luke comes along with the Force, he's going to blow them up anyway. But they have one very specific weakness, and that is speed. If the enemy can outspeed and kill the Yuki, the team just crumbles. So that's what I like about them, though. They're really strong. They have a weakness, though, and if you can beat the weakness, doesn't matter what stats you put into these heroes, you'll be fine. But for those using them, they are a wonderful faction, and these medallions are definitely going to improve your gameplay with them as well. So yeah, that is the medallion priority for these characters. Like I said, it's what I'm building on them specifically. If you have a different opinion, by all means, go for it. Like I said, there are a few ways you could build these heroes. So throw damage reduction on all 4 substats if you want. Go for it. Make them super tanky. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And if you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.